What is good? We're back. We're off and rolling on another live Superflex TE Premium 1.5 startup mock draft. We are within the month of the actual NFL draft, and boy, that smell is in the air. That's pollen. That's a pollen inhale. It's very polleny here right now.
My whole family's like,
Yeah.
Do we have all have a Coke problem? What's going on? Kids like looking at me. I'm like, settle down, kid.
Yeah, can't breathe right now, but it's all right. You know,
For the boys.
The warmth is upon us, and the draft is there as well, and we will be soon to find out who goes where and who is completely dead because they didn't get the landing spot of the draft capital you jerks wanted. So we are off and rolling on this lovely mock draft. We got a third round reversal in here, 1 minute clock, 15 rounds. We got Josh Allen off the rip, Patty Mahomes from our boy Jake Anderson. What up, bud? Been a minute. Good to see you. CJ Stroud at 1-3, so he's up there. Lamar at 1-4, Jalen Hurts at 1-5, and Joey Burrow and Justin Jefferson at 1-7. Jalen Hurts is a little interesting. Last year you didn't really see any drafts where he slipped, and our overall ADP reflects pretty strongly on Jalen Hurts, but I do see some where he was kind of that big third a lot, and seems like a lot of the Eagles in general are a little bit of a potential maybe buy ?
Except for AJ Brown, right?
I think even AJ Brown's value definitely down from where we were,
as it should be, right?
And I don't think so. And still, still probably going to come out and produce at a really high level, same as Jalen Hurts. And then Devonta Smith, pretty good value at this point.
Always a buy.
Has always been, but just continuously keeps slipping down and falling a little bit down the ADP and a little bit down further in the line. And he'll have some up and downs, but he's a pretty damn solid player with if AJ Brown misses time, he can be the alpha. He can crush. He can put up big time wide receiver 1 numbers. And then you have Dallas Goedert, who that man was a 4th round pick in the last few years of TE Premium startups. You can get him in the 10th round. I mean, maybe a little bit of a slip's warranted, but and he is, just turned 29, so a little bit on the older side of things. But man, it seems like the Philadelphia Eagles are, a pretty solid buy all around right now. Now, some people who are Jalen Hurts haters are saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get out," and yeah, he was never that good. But I think when you come over and you had Shane Steichen, who seems to be in that quarterback whisperer group of really elevating the play of an offense, and you lose him, I don't think we spend enough time sometimes, because some of these really good offenses we take for granted, them losing the coordinator and just life goes on. Whereas the Eagles lost the coordinator and it seemed like wheels fell off of this thing. And then they came back and put an emphasis on getting coordinators that have known track records in Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. And I think, Kellen Moore's, luster has drawn down a little bit, but I still think a pretty good mind and a pretty good coordinator, and he's got a bunch of good pieces around him. I mean, what has thrived in LA? Not a whole lot. And now Jimmy Harbaugh is over there, and he's going to bring his culture in. He's going to do what he does. He's going to change that whole thing up, and that's probably what they needed. But as for the Eagles, I think you probably see not that they were bad last year, but they ended on a bad note and things got pretty sour. I think you see a little bounce back, and I think there's some pretty solid value. Obviously, you added Saquon in there. They've gone and got some kind of depth at the receiving core, which they didn't really have. I know Devontae Parker isn't all that sexy, but he's at least a body you can put out there. Like when they have lost people in the past, you really haven't had anybody to throw out there. So they've brought in a few. I'm drawing a blank at some of the lower name depth wide receiver pieces they brought in, but they have brought in a few. So I like kind of where that offense is bouncing back to. Is their head coach the guy? I'm not sure, but I think you'll see a much bigger bounce back from that offense. So 1-8, there goes Herbert. Caleb Williams at 1-9. Good to see, our group in general hasn't fallen out of favor with Caleb Williams, gotten draft fatigue or hung up on some dumb shit. because Chicago has never seen an eccentric guy who dresses like, questionably and does some weird things and has weird piercing and dyes his hair. Dennis Rodman never existed in the Bulls Chicago arena there. So, everybody's acting like, oh, Chicago will never put up. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
with Caleb?
Guess what? When you start winning, nobody gives a shit.
So is that's your stance here? Because there's everybody's
so much wild shit.
So much hate going on with Caleb Williams.
Wild.
Like, I don't know. How is he going to earn the respect of his team? I heard he doesn't even look his teammates in the
guys,
eyes.
He's not a leader of men. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
he does have fingernail paint and
who cares?
Cell phones.
Who cares? This is a whole different
not
breed.
Me.
The dudes who care, are insecure. A lot of dudes in that locker room aren't going to care. I can tell you,
making plays.
If it's a good locker room, the guys who do care about that will squash that shit right the fuck away. That guy or two will be singled out, and you're the problem. Get the fuck out. If you got a bad locker room, that could lead to some, kind of cracks and crevices. But it seems like kind of what's in those dudes were riding for Fields, baby, and so I respect that part of it. And they've brought in, even some more veteran leaders. Keenan Allen, him, already have a relationship. You got DJ Moore. So I think all that stuff is nonsense. Caleb absolutely should be the 1-1, no questions asked. The Bears would be doing themselves a disservice to not at least try and get that franchise quarterback. And I love the value of Herbert too here. I've been singing that every draft we do. I think that's a really good trade target right now. Jamar Chase at 110, CeeDee Lamb at 111, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 112, Marvin Harrison at 2-1, Anthony Richardson at 2-2, Jordan Love at 2-3. So the last one, people had a problem with where Jordan Love was, and now hopefully nobody has a problem with where he is now. Jordan Love at 2-3.
Isn't that a wild ride this last year? Like, he was so hot at first, and then he lost some games and didn't put up some numbers, and then it was like, it's not working out. And then he finished strong, and it's like now he's the best.
Well, he had had a bumpy road, but then the ascent was so good and strong, and just the supporting cast and Green Bay being a pretty stable organization, complete opposite of what you've seen from Chicago. So when the quarterback starts going right, it's easy to get on board because we've seen this dance before, So yeah, I mean, Jordan Love has earned it. It'll be interesting. I guess he can't get a contract until May, so because he renegotiated or got a new contract or so. I was listening to Adam Scheffler talk about this. So apparently he could renegotiate in May. So we'll be interesting to see where that is. But Packers in really good position. Kyler Murray at 2-4, Bijan at 2-5, Christian McCaffrey at 2-6, Breece Hall 2-7, Gibbs at 2-8, Dak Prescott at 2-9, T-Law at 2-10, and Jaden Daniels at 2-11. That seems maybe a hair high on the rookie quarterback there. But Jaden Daniels seems to be the one maybe starting to take some strays now all of a sudden.
All the rookie quarterbacks.
I mean, yes. I mean, May's been taking strays, but Jaden Daniels, it seems like there's been some attention turned to potentially taking some strays for him. Marv goes before Neighbors isn't even going that round, so that's interesting there. St. Brown, I agree with a lot of where we're at here with a lot of this. Like the Anthony Richardson, I don't really have a problem. Maybe you slide McCaffrey back just because of some age, but you got Justin Jefferson, you got McCaffrey. Hey, let's see how the rest of your draft plays out, and you're ready to win year one. Big D goes Tyreek Hill at 211. I feel like he's been somebody who's definitely been on the schneid a little bit there. Let's see here, Tyreek in the ADP, 35th overall. So wide receiver 12, 310 it looks like is our ADP currently. So good bit up there. So Vengo, Big D, shout out to him. Got some episodes coming up with Big D, and a lot of Patreon appearances. So go ahead and check that out. FFD Patreon, get 3 extra episodes a month over there. Doing more roster reviews over there. We got roster reviews coming back out, so lots of good stuff going on over there. So he goes Josh Allen and Tyreek Hill. So he's gearing up to win right now, right off the rip. Tyreek Hill's, if you had to guess where he's going to land in the spectrum of wide receiver 1 to 5, it's probably somewhere in there. You know what I mean? So you're basically hitting a home run. How long it lasts, I don't know. Do you want to spend that kind of capital on somebody who's going to be 30, 31, 32? Said he might only play a couple more years. We don't know. So a little higher up in the capital there. Last year it was like, you still got 3 years, and now it's like, oh well, maybe it's 2. I don't know.
I don't believe him.
Probably, if he's still playing well, why not? Why not get another bag?
He was incredible.
But maybe his OnlyFans career is gonna just shoot through the roof. And some of those gals are making NFL money. So, I mean,
They're definitely making above league minimum.
well, yeah. I mean, if the Cash Me Outside girl can just be out there being a multi-millionaire,
I feel like
sky's the limit for Tyreek.
I got some bonus points for not even knowing who the fuck you're talking about.
You don't remember that?
Shout out to me,
that Dr. Phil,
dude.
that ratchet ass girl was on there with her
That
mom.
doesn't really narrow it down, does it?
Oh, that's a classic episode.
Is it? I'm out of the
Cash
loop.
Me Outside. Cash Me Outside. The worst. The fucking worst. She's crushing it on OnlyFans. Anyway,
The FFD OnlyFans. That's what we need.
yeah, that's basically what Patreon is. So sometimes there's no shirt, sometimes there's no pants. There's always.
I'm never wearing.
I'll tell you what, there always
is.
is. There's always service. You come however you want. AJ Brown 3-1.
It's not here.
Puka Nacua 3-2. So that's, I don't know. Is that a late Puka there? Garrett. Well, seems like some late receivers here a little bit. Garrett Wilson 3-3. Sam Laporta first tight end off the board. Chris Olave. There goes Malik Neighbors, and there goes Roma Dunze. So bang bang with the rookie wide receivers. Drake May still on the board. Let's see what quarterbacks are still here. So obviously,
while we're on Roma Dunze,
be interesting to see kind of where Justin Fields goes in this one. We've been tracking that over the last few drafts. Seems to be, 6th was a live draft we did. I think 7th, 8th was one of the last rounds, last mocks we just finished up. So somewhere in that range seems to be about where I've been seeing Fields go.
Just want to show off this player page you brought up Odunze.
Yeah. We'll hit back into Odunze in a second. We had some people asking what the proper value on is. Just I feel like if you could get a late second and pick up Justin Fields in a super flex, I'd be for sure down with that, because I know some people it's doomsday, but I think Fields will get another shot. We'll see what happens in Pittsburgh. A late second for all that upside. We know the fantasy points are going to be good. Sure, sign me up. Yeah. So Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze going 3-6, 3-7. I think Neighbors is usually a little higher, and Dunze is probably about properly right. Yeah, 3-6 on our ADP. Malik Neighbors usually 2-11. So usually a little higher. Roma Dunze, getting the Mark Harmon. I was thinking Mark Norman, the comedian. Matt Harmon, stamp of approval. He's had Daniel Jeremiah, stamp of approval. He's had Casey Myers, a stamp of approval. Roma Dunze, I think, is a bona fide stud. I don't think there's a big of a gap between Rome and Neighbors and Marvin Harrison as everybody else makes it to be. Now Marvin Harrison is coming out as a lot of wide, whatever, semantics. I think we got 3 good receivers in here that I think are going to have a hard time missing. The rest of them, jury's out on. Pick your favorite, pick your flavor. Seems like Chris Olave has been somebody who's been kind of people falling out of favor with some people, but I'm as strong as ever on Chris Olave. You got
I don't know. We've been taking a lot of the rookies over Chris Olave in packages of like, I guess I'll trade away Olave, and people have been like mad at us, like, why the Olave shade? And I'm like, we just took a couple rookies over him. That's not a bunch of shade. I mean,
you get a good package. I could see
like
it.
Neighbors over Olave, right?
Yeah, probably. That's pretty close. I'd say that's pretty close. That's right in the wheelhouse. You could reset the time clock a couple years.
I could be okay with Olave over Dunze, but we'll see.
We're getting coordinator change over there, and the problem is New Orleans could be an absolute mess. And they
have been, and he's been good.
I mean, they've been at least kind of pegged to be like, they could be decent. Now but they are bringing in Clint Kubiak, I believe, who's obviously
Clint Kubiak.
Who's obviously a Kubiak, who's a big Shanahan Kubiak Shanahan tree is kind of that early descendant. Now Clint was with Kyle, so he's going over there. The next Niners guy that touched that staff, so he's going over somewhere else, getting a job. Going back to that Eagles stuff in the beginning of this conversation was, Eagles lose a guy, it crumbles. Niners lose a guy, lose a defensive and offensive and quarterback coach damn near every year, and they keep coming right back. But that's what happens when your head coach is kind of the system. So interesting, kind of see how that works. The Lions are somebody right now that you're waiting to see, is the bottom going to fall out when does Ben Johnson even, end up going? Does he just stick around for a while? Some guys are just coordinator face, so we shall see. Brock Purdy then goes at 3-8. JT 3-9. Drake May 3-10. Brock Bowers from our guy Jake Anderson, never played to play it close to the what would I be looking for?
Vest?
Chest? No, I was going for a golf analogy there because I believe he's
close to the hole.
A golfer, yeah, sure.
Close.
He doesn't play from the ladies' tees. I'll tell you that. He plays from the man's tees.
Golf sucks.
Golf's great.
Hit me in the comments.
Golf's great.
Who has that much time?
Well, it's hot here when it's too hot.
You got to get up so early too.
You don't have to get up early.
And then
it's just hot here when I would want to play.
Oh.
So we're in Charleston, South Carolina, in case you were wondering. A-Chain. So Vengo or Big D's just drafted all upside. Then he comes right back with McBride. So he's got the rainbow effect going. He's got a killer at each position. He's going high octane output over there. So I like that. Brandon Ayuk at 4-2. And there's our boy, Devonta Smith at 4-3. Kyron Williams at 4-4. Got Cat on the brain. Just peeped some Cat the other day in the North Charleston Coliseum. That was interesting. Jalen Waddle going there at 4-5. Nico Collins 4-6. Drake London 4-7. And I don't think we've seen a terrible uptick in Drake London. It seems like our people have kind of had a little built in, had him properly rated. I like that. Pittman at 4-8, Tank Dell at 4-9. So a lot of over the last few days, I've been seeing some Tank Dell, Nico Collins. Which one do you want?
Nico.
I don't know. I'll take either one. I think both of them were pretty good when the other one was on the field. So I think you had a rookie quarterback. I also feel like that's a place where people keep wanting to say that to add a wide receiver, and it's like, well, you don't really need to add a wide receiver. Like
Tank's small,
whatever.
He couldn't stay out there.
Okay. He broke his leg. I mean, he could never get hurt again.
Well,
but
he did just recently.
Right.
And that'll happen forever.
Yeah, they brought back Noah Brown. They got Mechie. I think Robert Woods is still on the team. Maybe they draft a later round guy, but I don't see any reason to spend any high capital on they brought back Schultz. They're good, man. They brought in Mixon. They got a decent O-line. I think both of those guys are just going to eat with CJ Stroud. So, I don't think there's really too much concern for, hey, which one would you rather? That's a personal preference. Tank Dell operates a little different. Nico Collins operates a little different. I mean, Nico seems like that bit more of the old school guy approach, and Tank Dell's that new school, fun little sports car. So, I think it's preference. I probably lean Nico slightly, whichever one I can get the better value on, which I guess probably is Tank Dell a little bit. Maybe I lean that way. Pittman, always a great get there. Just solidifying a guy who can be your wide receiver one, but you typically don't even need to draft in the wide receiver one range, and he can put up wide receiver one numbers all day long.
How old is Pittman here?
26.
That's what I thought. Where would you put him in amongst the rookies there? You would rather have Odunze?
Yeah.
Would you rather have who's next after Odunze, like in a Superflex? Is it McCarthy?
And
Bowers?
It's Brock Bowers in this, potentially, and then it's probably the next quarterback that gets drafted. I think would be there, which is probably McCarthy. But for me, if Penix goes anywhere near that first round, near where McCarthy's going, I'll take Penix because I like Penix. If he doesn't, then it's JJ, and I probably know that I don't have to take Penix in that spot there. So even though I have him ranked there, I could probably wait a pick or two and see where the Penix loves. But Penix, the stock rising at the right time. I like it. People
stocks rising
at the right time. Adam Schefter said he'd pretty much
guaranteed
not getting him out of the first round. And kind of used actually what we talked about at one time. I don't know if it was a live show or what it was, but talking about how the JJ McCarthy hype is probably a little out of control and over warranted. I don't know if that's even how I want to say that, but maybe getting too aggressive. And he kind of referenced the Will Levis and maybe peaking at the wrong time, and it could maybe we'll see a massive drop from JJ McCarthy because he was kind of saying some higher up people were saying that it's probably a little too aggressive. So DJ Moore going at 410, Tua Tagovailoa going at 411, Jared Goff 412, JJ McCarthy at 5-1, smoking through there with the old pimp juice. 5-2 Zay Flowers, 5-3 Saquon, respect. 5-4 Rashi.
What's going on there?
I don't know.
I saw the video, but
we had our legal team on it.
Yeah.
Somebody in our Discord who was, had some police officer experience was saying that probably wasn't going to be, too big of an issue as long as there wasn't anything else crazy going on. Maybe a 4 to 6 game suspension would be maybe kind of like the max and maybe
he didn't smoke any weed or
reduction.
anything.
Yeah,
Bunch,
so who knows?
Can't be that many games.
Dalton Kincaid at 5'5", and then Travis Etienne at 4'6" there, or 5'6" rather. Going back to the Adunze question, kind of where he ranks with some other wide receivers. Is that what you were kind of asking there, or?
Yeah, we just had
or Pittman, or how
we've been having questions, and you and Big Co just dropped that show where we traded Pittman away, and people asking like 1.8 Pittman or 1.8 in a Superflex. That's McCarthy, Brian Thomas.
Probably Pittman,
because you'd rather have Pittman over Brian Thomas,
right?
Because you bird in the hand.
Sure, I know. Like,
even though he's 26.
Sure, but I mean, that's okay. He
just got paid, right? He's a
we got 4 years of a receiver here. Then I'm cool with that. Like, that's all right. You start to worry a little bit at 30 when you're like, it was the Cooper Kupp conversation that we had 2 or 3 years ago. Like, yeah, it's warranted to take it. It's going to be good for you, but how long? Like bottom, the bottom starts to fall out, and it's a of
course, he's
descending
so good,
asset. And so I mean,
sometimes you have to take these guys knowing that they're never going to be worth more than, but like, that's okay to draft the guy at his peak.
Sure. And I think if Tyreek Hill's 28, I think it's okay to have him probably a little earlier than where he goes. But once he's 30, is that what you want to be doing? I don't know.
30.
I don't know if it's the best. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if that's like the best money spent, but like, I can't really make a terribly convincing argument outside of the quote unquote value argument that it's just going to keep going down. But if you win, if Big D wins for the next 2 years, who gives a shit?
Right. I do. I'm mad.
So yeah,
that I didn't take Tyreek Hill.
Right. So now here's a big one there. 5'9" for Diggs seems like that's awful high from what we've been seeing there. So we'll check that out here in the ADP. You got T at 5'7", DK at 5'8", Ken Walker, Kenny 3 Sticks at 5'10".
Stephon Diggs is at 705.
Yeah. So
ADP
seems like Diggs would be an example of somebody who was, and Diggs didn't perform to the level of he was for a minute there, and then really fell off at the back half of the season. And he's also, I mean, obviously Tyreek Hill has had some drama surrounding him, but it's not like
it's always something.
His is off the field a little bit. Like,
well, sure.
Stephon Diggs is
on the field.
Just seems, just like he's being a bit of a, knucklehead on the field, just when he's.
Is it better to have off the field issues than on the field?
No,
issues?
I mean, it depends on the morality police, or or not.
Okay, well, you got people mad at Deshaun, still have Joe Mixon on the team.
Right.
Just stop. We're playing a game about a game,
right? Not asking you to babysit my kids,
right? Not voting for him for
office.
Which, I mean, whoever you're voting for office, they've done way worse.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. You're just in that gang, so
just get a whole new.
But Diggs at 5'9" seems like it's a little early, and there's a classic conversation between me and Big Co of wanting to trade Julio Jones and his twilight years for Stephon Diggs in an FFPC, and me telling Big Co of like, hey, this time next year they're going to be so far reversed, and Julio is going to be 3 rounds down, and Diggs is going to be exactly where he was, and now Diggs is in the Julio position. Kind of falling down here a little bit, but that a little early. But I mean, that could really pay. It's late fifth, 6th round Diggs that could really pay off for you. But again, it just seems like there's a lot of we won't say dark cloud. We'll go like a light gray cloud kind of surrounding.
There's always a chance of
Diggs,
rain.
Right.
There's a 50% chance of rain at least.
So like Jordan Addison at 5'11", not as not probably the doesn't have the one upside per se.
All day Addison over,
but
Diggs
has a killer too, and can get you the 1 game in the 2 role, and so and is just 5-8 years younger. So yeah, it's Addison,
but he scored too many touchdowns.
Yeah,
I mean, how can he be good? He scored too many touchdowns.
You got a little bit of a quarterback question there. So and now it's are they going up and getting? I would prefer them to stay and get Penix, and if they get Penix, it's pants off. We're so excited, We got to be real excited. They're free fly. They're,
free fly. Is that a brand?
Yeah. Charleston
brand.
Yeah. Mostly for your fishing kind of people. Yeah. But it's a good material. Good
swimming.
Good spring. Yeah, they're pretty.
But they're pants.
They're pants. UV resistant.
No one's swimming in pants.
I mean, fishing, swimming, whatever. All right. Anyway, Deshaun Watson, 5'12".
All day.
Josh Jacobs, 6'1", Kyle Pitts 6'2", Mark Andrews 6'3", Georgie Pickens 6'4". Like I would take Pickens over Diggs.
How high of a
like Andrews right there? That's a massive value as far as he could easily bounce back to.
He's just 32, right? Or
he's
30 as well.
I think he's 28.
Oh, yeah. What do you know?
He could bounce back and be your tight end one.
He's
easy.
A huge value.
He's probably no less than the tight end 3 if he's healthy.
Massive buy.
Hurts our guy likely, but is what it is. TJ Hawkinson at 6'5". I think that's pretty good value there. Really good value.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
JSN 6'6". Love that.
This is tight end premium, so right. I mean Hawkinson should be a 4th round pick. Like you'd rather have Tank Dell than TJ Hawkinson?
I mean, if TJ Hawkinson isn't hurt right now and on top of that, a quarterback, it's a double threat guy.
Well, then he'd be a 2nd round pick because he had 100 catches.
He'd be at least a 3rd round guy.
He'd be like the 2nd or 3rd tight end off the board.
Yeah, you could probably pencil him in for around where Laporta is
if he wasn't hurt
in that 3-4 range there.
Right? This is a huge
healthy.
Discount.
I think it was ACL, MCL, the double whammy for him there, but. These day and ages, you don't worry about it a ton, but it certainly could be an issue. And then the quarterback on top of it. So, he falls down. I find myself drafting Hawkinson a lot because the value seems to be right. And then I come back and grab a guy I know I can play for the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think he'd have to be tight end 4 for me. I'm down taking Laporta. I mean, Bowers or Hawkinson. I think I'd rather have Hawkinson. I mean, what are we doing? He's still so young. I mean, the quarterback, whatever, they'll figure it out. It's the situation's changed, man. I can't be
sure. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily that. I'm just giving the ration. He's 26 years old, so
whatever.
And I don't know when the birthday is.
Whatever.
I think Sleeper does a pretty good job of putting the age of what they're going to be in season than current. I think I've seen that a few times. So anyway, Bryce Young 6'7". We'll table that for a second. Kirk Cousins 6'8". Debo 6'9". Travis Kelce 6'10". James Cook 6'11". Pacheco 6'12". Brian Thomas 7'1". And then Rashad White at 7'2". Let's look at the board here, see what we got going on. Let's see what the rookies here are. The rookies are mixed in now, right? Is that right?
I don't know. I never participate in these mocks anymore. I can look. Let's see. Let's see. Devont Tajay. Nope, none of these guys are rookies.
So we're peruse that.
I don't think rookies.
We've approached.
There would be one right now.
We've approached the part of the draft where wide receiver turns into Jaden Reed's that last young guy who some people really believe in, but I think everybody might be a hair scared to really dive in because of how much of other stuff is surrounding that. And then we get to a bunch of ifs, ands, and maybes and some older guys. So, it's a good time to start looking at the rookies and hammering the rookies. So you saw Brian Thomas go there.
I guess
Cooper
they are.
Kupp. Yeah, I think they are mixed in.
Xavier Worthy's there at 105.
So Devontae Adams kind of going here. So, you can kind of pick your poison of this can shape your draft a little bit of if you drafted an older guy or two earlier, maybe you go but for these older guys, or if you drafted an older guy here, you can mix it up and try to grab a younger guy or two. But you grab Kupp and you grab Devontae Adams. I feel like both of those are maybe a little earlier than we've typically been seeing them. Let's see here. We got Brian Thomas 6'1". We got Debo Samuel 6'11". Jaden Reed 6'12" in our ADP. Let's see here. Stephon Diggs 7'5". Like I would. Stephon Diggs would be somebody if I could trade him for any of those 1.8 or better.
You can't
you can't. I don't think you can either.
All day I would do that. I guess.
Right. That's kind of what I'm saying too.
I mean, I guess he could bounce back and be the wide receiver 1 overall next year.
Yeah.
But he's 30.
Yeah. Right.
And it always seems like he's about to be out of Buffalo.
Descending.
I'm actually surprised he's still in Buffalo.
Right.
But I guess there's not too many better quarterback situations.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you doing? So.
It's cold, man.
We had an interesting question, or somebody asked it in the Discord. Pacheco for 2.4 and Jacoby Myers, and I said, you know what, I think I would do that because Pacheco goes in here with these guys, but I don't think you can trade him for. I don't think you can trade Pacheco for a 1st round pick. I think you have to add to Pacheco to get the 1st round pick in the right now that it would suggest that you could get a first round from the right guy potentially, but I don't know that you can. So getting
what was the trade again?
2-4 and Jacoby Myers for Pacheco, Superflex. I don't know if it was tight end premium or not, but like Pacheco could help you win. He said he had a good running back room, but I think getting the 2-4 plus the Jacoby Myers, for me, I would trade a 2 for Jacoby Myers. So 2 2s, and that 2-4 could easily, you could go back and go to like a Trey Benson if you wanted to, or you can go back. You might get AD Mitchell. You might get.
You probably won't get either of them.
I mean, you could if it's super
It's
flex.
probably more of like a Corum or a. You're probably not getting Benson. Benson's probably gonna be a late first round pick, right, or early second.
Not if these, okay,
in the rookie draft,
right? So what if JJ McCarthy and one of the other quarterbacks goes in the first round,
and Penix, you're saying
one of them, Nix or Penix, or all three, or both of those other guys.
No way, Nix is going in the first.
Yeah,
nah.
Broncos.
That makes sense.
Our ADP right now suggests Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, 15-16. Or I guess it's
15-16 overall.
It's one off, so it'd be 14-15.
So that's 2-2.
Right.
It's not right there for you.
It is right there to the right. It is right here. That's what I'm saying. But number 1 is this. Number 2 is.
No, just look at the right side.
Okay. I'm looking. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, so you're in the, Ladd McConkey could potentially be there. Troy Franklin could potentially be there if it's the right, mix of guys. One of those 2 running backs could be there. You could get paid to trade back again. You could get a quarterback there. So a lot of really good options, I think. And on top of that, if you got a competitive team, he said his wide receivers were lacking. I love Jacoby Myers as a wide receiver 3 flex starter. For me, that's a top 24 wide receiver last year. So I like that deal, and it seems like you could get pretty close to at least 2 2s is better than I don't think you're getting the 1. I guess is my point with Pacheco. So I kind of like that deal there. So Brian Thomas going 7-1 because there's Brian Thomas. You couldn't trade Pacheco for Brian Thomas right now. No way.
No.
Rashad White 7-2. Cooper Kupp, Devon.
Some leagues. People get so thirsty for a running back. They think if they trade for one running back, I'll have it.
No, he doesn't have enough juice for most people. Most people are not. So the Baker Mayfield at 7-5, Ladd McConkey 7-6, Jaden Reed at 7-7.
They did re-sign Clyde, so that's good for Pacheco.
It's not the worst for Pacheco. 7-8 for Javonte Williams. So that he's an interesting one. He seems like there's a nice little buy window on him, but where are the Broncos going to be? What are they going to do? Is he part of their plan next year? Is it going to be kind of, a little bit more McLaughlin and, how much run is he going to get? So I'm down to take the stab on him. A year removed from the knee injury, made it through all that thing healthy. That's really what I wanted to see. And if he can come back to where he was, pretty good back there. So 7-9, Terry McLaurin, 7-10, Mike Evans, Derrick Henry, 7-11, Tajay Spears, 7-12, Amari, 8-1, Will Levis, 8-2, like that shot. Najee at 8-3, some respect. And there goes Justin Fields, 8-4. I think that's properly rated Justin Fields.
That doesn't feel like respect on Najee's name.
Oh, yeah. That's plenty of respect on Najee's name right there.
Najee or Pacheco?
I personally, I think I'd rather have Najee, but
Najee or Rashad White?
It's close.
Najee or Javonte Williams? I'd rather have him over Henry. I think I got to take him over Spears.
Spears is close because I still believe that he's going to win that job and be the 1A, and be very good in the receiving game. But I think Najee's
going to like this. People just tuned out. I
think Najee's going to get a lot of work though. And it's everything that's going on there is a good fit for Najee Harris. He's just had 1,000 yards every season he's been in the league. So it's interesting there. But I think if you wanted to trade Najee for Pacheco, I think you could definitely get something on top of that. If you're going from Pacheco to Najee, I think somebody would definitely pay you. There's a chance you could get a little extra there. So I don't hate that. But maybe we're just not putting enough respect on Pacheco's name, but it is what it is. DeAndre Swift at 8-5, Njoku at 8-6, Stafford at 8-7, Calvin Ridley at 8-8, and then Georgie Kittle at 8-9. Woo, doggy. I think at some point you just got to close your eyes and pull the trigger on Kittle because he will certainly win you some weeks in tight end premium, surely. Xavier Worthy and Ferguson there at 8-11. So Xavier Worthy, let's see here. Amari Cooper, you can't trade Amari Cooper for 1.9 right now.
No way.
You can't, and which is always interesting. The psychology that kind of goes in between these rookie drafts and startups, and then once the team's already built and established, how these values all kind of change and ebb and flow a little bit. You like to get a hold of the ADP and say, this is a good way to establish some value, but there has to be caveats and nuances and all that. That's why it's, important to go through all these processes, figure out who you like, who you don't like, and have a sliding scale, and being able to stay fluid, work your tiers a little bit, depending on, having kind of maybe a little bit more of a redraft angle on your tiers, depending on where you are, or a little bit of a competitor spin on your tiers for where you are. Those things probably need to ebb and flow, because they're not. Amari Cooper is not the same value to you if you're a competitor or a rebuilder. There's no value on him if you're a rebuilder. If you're a competitor, if you're not an idiot, you should have pretty good value on him. You know what I mean?
But still, I feel like he doesn't get their respect.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper's someone that's going to die on your team.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these older guys kind of are. And, I mean, how good was Mike Evans for so long and just stayed with getting no respect,
and then finally had like the best,
and then had another good season, and just resigns, but now at the tail end. But like, even though Mike Evans is like the Najee Harris of running backs, who just gets 1,000 yards every year, and obviously done it much longer than Najee. I'm not, but had a great year, gets everything back except for his coach, his OC. So we'll see how that goes. But all those guys kind of lose value, and they're when you're the rebuilder, it's really hard to unload those guys, which is why me and Big Co just did a show. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go peep that. Kind of, I think the thumbnail says art of the deal, like basically how to get a deal done. And if you're the losing side of things, if you're on the rebuilding side of things, you might have to take kind of the quote unquote value loss. Like, so we just did a trade where we put Terry McLaurin and we put Amari Cooper together to be able to get up into the first round, because we're a rebuilding team. Well, it's been 2 years we've been saying, hey, we'll wait till in season to sell those guys. Well, guess what? You get in season, the first couple of weeks, nobody wants them. Then Terry's not playing great. Then Amari's quarterback's hurt. Then you're into week 8. 4 teams are out of the league because they're rebuilding and they don't give a shit. And then 2 more weeks go by and you're possibly getting maybe a late second for somebody, and then all of a sudden they're like, I lost a couple games, I'm out. So now you're dealing with like 4 guys who may have already even traded away all their picks. So sometimes you have to lose kind of the deal in that particular year, because everybody would say, oh, of course I would, Terry and Amari, that's a no-brainer. Of course they're worth more than 111, but I mean, are they? Like, if you're in a rebuild, like get what you can, package them up, overpay a little bit, and get you a first rounder. Now you have a little bit extra ammo in that draft, or you can get a younger wide receiver, quarterback, whatever you want to do there. So just an insight on a trade show that we just did. Go check that out.
Got a couple trade questions. Sounds like a good transition.
Sure. Hit me with it.
Would you stick and pick at the 111? Feel like it's okay. It's an okay pick to hold this year. It is Superflex. Like, I think this is a fun class. I'm down to stick and pick that. Like, obviously, if a good deal comes by, I mean, you should be trying to see what you can get.
We've talked about it 3 or 4 times already in this draft that's coming up here. Like, there's no reason to really get rid of your 11 right now, because your league might be devaluing the 11 because they're counting players, and then maybe they're only putting McCarthy in that mix, now, and where he wasn't before, and now 111 got one more spot valuable because McCarthy seems like he's going to be up in there. And now if you get 2 more of those quarterbacks, well, 111 just got even more valuable.
Right.
Whether or not you like the quarterback that went up there, somebody is going to say, even if I don't really like him, I'm gonna go ahead and take the shot because it's the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And we could make some trades. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a kind of a, I just hold unless you get a really good deal, unless you can get the deal, which, you can go to the FF Dynasty, sign up, and you can get our ADP, and you can kind of gauge that and say, hey, all right, well, here's this and here's that. You can't, doesn't seem like you can get this. Seems like he's 4 rounds above that. Yeah, I'll take that deal. But
right. Sometimes people get rookie fever. So if you can capitalize on that,
right.
But if no one,
most likely you hold, because it's just going to keep gaining value. Like, what we can say for sure for the most part is those at least three wide receivers after that 1-7 break are probably going in the first round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are they going to be? I don't know. Is Troy Franklin going to go in the first round? I don't know. Is Brian Thomas going to go in the first round? Seems like
Probably.
it. Xavier Worthy going to go in the first round?
Probably.
Seems like it. But Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, AD Mitchell,
even early second rounds, though, it's basically the same
it takes
thing.
one team to go, hey, I need this big 4-3, this bigger receiver at AD Mitchell. I'm the Buffalo Bills. I'm whoever. I need another guy, and you got another first round receiver. So, and those tight ends. So, what else you got?
We got a good question here. Would y'all trade the 101 Caleb and the 201 for Justin Jefferson? It's a Superflex 12 team. And I'm like, well, who's your quarterbacks? He says, I got Mahomes and Kyler. He's also got 1, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 4 apparently in a home league. So he's got Marv, Malik, and another quarterback, right? Would you trade Caleb to get Justin Jefferson and the 2-1? So you're talking about, potentially another quarterback, AD Mitchell, in the ADP right now.
You said he had 1, 2, and 1, 3.
Mm-hmm. But he's giving away 2-1 and 1-1 to get Justin Jefferson. That seems like if you got two other quarterbacks, you don't need Caleb.
Yeah, and you can draft a third one if you want right there, or trade out of that, trade back a little bit. That probably, if I'm trading away Caleb right there, what my move would try to be is probably get in that position and maybe then move back and acquire some capital, or move back and acquire a third quarterback that I can put on my roster. Somebody like a Will Levis or something. How far, what can I move back? Maybe that's too far down the list for some guys, but what can I move back off of 1, 2 to, as little as I can, obviously, and keep gathering up assets. And then I would go buy another quarterback and probably get something, or, get back to 1, 4, 1, 5 and see if one of those quarterbacks is still hanging around. Maybe you can get paid again from somebody else who needs a quarterback. So I'm fine with doing that. If you're ready to go and you're ready to win, Justin Jefferson is going to be in this first round for, and have strong value for a long time to come. So will Caleb, and I think Caleb's going to be really good. So it's really hard for me to get rid of him.
But I don't think that matters, acquiring Justin Jefferson in any situation.
Not really. Obviously, a little older than Caleb Williams at this point, but a really good player. You got Pat Mahomes and Kyler Murray and Justin Jefferson. That's you're on the right path to
and neighbors and
victory. And then at some point, if you wanted to get out of Patrick, you probably could go to Patrick to Caleb and maybe pick something up. So I don't hate that. It's hard pressed for me to say if it was my team, I really, really want Caleb on my team, but I could see making that move.
Is Chris Godwin going too low? We can get back to this draft.
Yeah, let's hop back in here. So we had Kamara going 8-12, Mixon. That was Worthy and Ferguson went, and then that was right before that was the Kittle saying great value there. Then we got Alvin Kamara going 8-12. We got Joe Mixon 9-1. We got Josh Downs 9-2. So nice value on Josh Downs. As far as it seems like he's up a little bit. Monty at 9-3, Ramondre at 9-4. I'm not sure where he usually goes, but I feel like it's usually double digits. Evan Ingram getting some respect put on his name. Christian Kirk, love that, 9-6, great pick, Cocoa Bean.
Ramondre is usually 10-5, so right there in the double digits.
Yeah. Quarterback situation is a little questionable with the Bean there, but like that Christian Kirk pick. Then Penix at 9-7, good value on Penix from JM Dubs. That's his second quarterback, so he'll have to go back to the well a little later. Deontay at 9-8, like that. Schultz at 9-9, love that. I would take Kmet over Schultz, but maybe people are a little scared of Keenan Allen for a season. So,
or two.
Or two. Jonathan Brooks at 9-10, so that's our first rookie running back off the board. Looks like. AD Mitchell 9-11, Hollywood Brown at 9-12, none other than Big D, taking another high upside guy, and just got himself 3 good running backs, got himself 2 potential really good quarterbacks. I know Deshaun Watson, but I think there's a good floor there with Watson. And then Amari Cooper, awesome. Hollywood Brown, awesome. And then he grabbed Kmet. Is he on the clock again? Oh no, it went back the other way. Keenan Allen at 10-2, Jahan Dotson at 10-3. Then Godwin at 10-4. That was who you're asking if going too low.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are Godwin had some up and down kind of games through the season. Be interesting to see how this scheme is and what it's like now moving. That we talked about it with the Eagles to start this thing, and we talked likened it to the Niners of being completely different, of kind of always having the true north of what they're doing on offense, whereas the Eagles kind of, maybe started off hot, but a couple little cracks in what they were doing and everything crumbled. We'll see if Canales has had that effect on the Bucs. Him leaving, changes things up, changes the pecking order a little bit, because it seems like Evans really had the inside tracking, but Godwin still a really good player, only 28. Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, and Hollywood Brown. Those are my hammers in these 8th through 10th round picks. I love taking those guys all through there. Those are guys who have been bona fide producers. They can produce at a high level, and their floors are probably around 10 points. So you don't lose a whole lot of weeks because of them, but I think you can win. And some people hate Hollywood at this point. Whatever, I'm all in. He's produced at a really, really high level. He's also
hate him.
Oh yeah, a lot of Hollywood shade. Deontay Johnson, same thing, but targets are coming for those guys.
I can see why you dislike Deontay.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a dislikable guy.
Hollywood just hasn't finished the last 2 seasons, and then some seasons in Ravens. So they're like, why do you like Hollywood? So I like him because I know what the upside is, and he can be a volume monster as well.
He could be a wide receiver 1 that you get at a wide receiver 4 or 5 price.
He just needs to be healthy, and now we just got to get over that foot injury that's kind of lingered there for a little bit. But yeah, I like I said, Deontay, Marquise Brown, Godwin, bodybuilding and following your dreams. Christian Kirk, those are my hammers in that. I take those guys in the 8th round because I don't want to miss them. But Paula Cole, you don't want to wait. Shout out to, I don't know if anyone knows anything about Paula Cole, but I don't want to wait.
Yeah, I couldn't have named who sang that song. I'm not gonna sing it for y'all either. Casey's a much better singer than I am. I wish I could sing well because I love to sing, but it's just bad. It's genetics.
It's genetic. Yeah, you can work on it. I just watched an interview with.
You can work on it.
You can. I just watched an interview with who's the guy who does When Your Hands Don't Work Like They Used to Before. Ed Sheeran. I just watched an interview with Ed Sheeran, and he was like, from the time I was like 14 to 19, he was like, listen to this song. It was Howard Stern, and he put it on, and it was like, not great singing. And he was like, I just went and I sucked and I sucked and I sucked and I sucked, and I just learned how to sing. I learned how to harmonize. I learned how you have to have a bass line there, I think, but you can certainly learn how
I have no bass line
to do those things. But Troy Franklin,
follow your dreams,
going at 10-5. Maybe I'll tell that story at the end. 10-6, Christian Watson. That one resurfaced recently, so I've been on it for a minute here. Mayer, I think at 10, this Mayer 10, 11, 12. Let's see where he's in our ADP. But seems like I think he's gonna really have a nice breakout second year here. I know a lot of people are calling him Huerto or dead. But
who?
Mayer. But I like taking the shot on Mayer. But then Goddard's right there at 10-8, so it's hard for me to not want to take the Goddard there. But I like this double stack from straight edge going Ingram, Goddard. Dude, those guys could be your tight end starter and your flex starter almost every week if things are going how you want. And then he's got Kincaid up there at in the early parts of things. So you're hoping for Kincaid to come out swinging. But if he doesn't, and you feel like you got to bench him for a couple of weeks, you got options plus another option to start in your flex position.
Last Spot says only podcast that would drop Paula Cole and Mobb Deep. Hey, shout out to Jake Anderson. I didn't see this man up in the
that's what I was saying. The golf. He was a
I'm not always paying attention.
Yeah,
got a lot of things going on.
Connor at 10-9. If you need a winning running back on a winning roster, James Conner in the double-digit rounds, holler at me. It's not sexy, it's not fun, but it's probably a formula for getting some points and winning some ball games. 10-10 Pollard. I don't hate that. Danny Dimes at 10-11. Sure, why not? Everybody hates him. He's dead. Those are the times that you double down and buy back in, baby. Trey Benson at 10-12. Then Keon Coleman at 11-1. Musgraves 11-2. Geno Smith 11-3. Wicks at 11-4. Aaron Jones 11-5. Derek Carr 11-6. Jameson Williams from old JM Dubs there. Brian Robinson at 11-8. I think Brian Robinson's a stab I'm willing to shoot on. Tucker Kraft at 11-9. That seems pretty high there, but hey, if you think he's going to be over Musgrave and you liked what he saw, which you got to like what you saw last year, But a reason why I want the double-digit drafting guys from the Packers, not the single-digit drafting guys from the Packers.
Give me Likely all day.
And then Freiermuth at 11-10. Like if I'll take Freiermuth over Kraft in that spot there, and then hopefully I get Kraft in 2 rounds, because I think our Kraft ADP is probably way lower than that.
Dude, this Freiermuth is a steal.
Oh, give me it. Marshawn Lloyd at 11 like that. Then Jacoby Myers. He's been accepted into the community.
People finally like him
at 11-12. No, I mean,
no, they don't.
Eat the Jews. I like you. So Jacoby, I mean, just that's a Big D's doing a great job over here at this end wraparound. Allen, then he goes Braylon Allen. A lot of upside there. That's a controversial piece there. You either love him or you hate him. There's no in between. I like the Corum stab. Lloyd and Corum there. See, so let's see what this running back room is from Jake Anderson. So he's got 2 quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, maybe a little early for me there, but do you. Bowers, another tight end with Pitts, like that. Stacked Ayuk and Addison in the middle there. So we got Keenan Allen, anchor in the receiving core. Another shot on A.D. Mitchell, and he's got Will Levis, so 3 quarterbacks. Let's see, is there another quarterback you could grab here in the later rounds? Probably not really, to really give him one more good starter, but he can fish around. Jaden Daniels going to be all right. A.D. Mitchell, and then he went back to back with those 2 green boxes of 2 fun stabs at running back. I think Corum's a plug and play year 1. Obviously depending on the system, but I think he's going to get better draft capital than a lot of people think, and I think he's going to come in right away. He's 24, but he's ready to go. He'll be 24 in season rather. And I like Marshawn Lloyd. That's a good shot. The other big guys are gone. Maybe I take Jalen Wright there instead of Lloyd, but take your preferences, take your guys there. Lloyd's got Lloyd's got a potential 3-down skill set and some good speed and burst and agility to kind of go along with that fun player. So Nick Chubb and Eckler coming in here in the 12th round, Aaron Rodgers in the 12th round. That might not have been a terrible stab for Jake Anderson there, but 12th round Rodgers, it doesn't feel great. But
still Russell Wilson out there. I mean,
Russell. And Romeo Dubs at 2-6, Chuba 2-7, Jerry Jeudy. He's been kicked out of the community. Jalen Warren. Quentin Johnston, he's one that I keep coming back to in the 12th round. I never take him, but I think if it was a real draft, I would.
Just waiting to see where he goes, kind of thing.
Right. And some of these other guys, I don't let him go because I'm like, I like to see my team with him. But Quentin Johnston, I know he's everybody's punching bag, but I think he did some decent jobs getting open here or there. Just had some dumb plays, was a rookie, just needed to keep learning. We didn't really want him to play year 1. We wanted to sit behind those 2 guys. Now we'll see what happens. We'll see where they go in the draft, but it's basically him and Josh Palmer right now hanging out over there, and a couple of tight ends and Gus Edwards. So be interesting to see what they do at the top of that draft. I think the Chargers are going to trade back off that 5 pick. If they can get somebody to come up there, it'd be interesting to see if they take a Neighbors, or maybe they trade back and get some more capital and start building this thing, get their fingerprints on what Harbaugh wants to do. You got a new GM, you got a new head coach. They're changing the identity of this thing. They're going to want more bullets in the chamber, I think, potentially, and they can move back maybe 4, 5, 6 spots, and maybe let somebody come up and get a quarterback or whatever. And we'll see if Jimmy Harbs can coach up some Quentin Johnston there. But I don't hate the shot in the 12th round. Nice little cluster of running backs that just went off the board. Zamir White's interesting. We'll see post-draft if that's just a killer of a draft pick there or a killer draft pick there at 2-11 with Zamir. Boy country.
12-11?
Boy country. Charbonnet, 12-12. It seems like you could pair up Sharbs and Kenny 3-6 pretty easily in these drafts. Get decent value on both, so I don't hate that. Roshan.
Hold on. That's a good in. Kenneth Walker, Kenny 3-6, or DJ Moore? Someone asked us that question.
I think somebody has asked us that question in the Discord. I said I like Kenny 3-6 better. I love Kenny 3-6, but I think I lean slightly to DJ Moore there.
Huh. Give me Kenny. Give me Kenneth.
Probably depends on what direction you're going and what your running back room looks like. But DJ Moore was so good last year. Really has been good for most years, and now you throw Caleb in there. You added Keenan Allen, but we'll see what that offense looks like. Don't love the OC there, but we shall see. That's the problem with Kenny is if Peter Gumchewer stayed there, you might know a little more of how they're going to deploy those guys. This new regime comes in there. It could be all Kenny 3-6 because they're saying, hey, we didn't really draft Sharps and he's just going to come in, change the pace. Or it could be, hey, we like this Sharps guy. He's going to cut way into the workload a little bit more like what you thought you would see last year.
Well,
so
Sharps got hurt,
he got banged up a little bit, but he was decent when he played. I like Sharps. I like taking the shot here at 12.
I don't like the situation.
You got two new regimes kind of coming in, and a quarterback for one side, and a whole regime change and a whole philosophy change on the. So it could be could be an absolute steal of Kenny Walker there if they're just going to ride him.
I don't love the situation. I don't, mostly just with Charbonnet being there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big blow to Kenny at first, but he showed you that he's still that dude. He's still ridiculously good, and you can't look away from the screen because you think he got tackled. Right. If you look down thinking the play's over, he's not. He's like Marshawn Lynchian,
right?
Lynchian, not Lynchian.
Lynchian in a different way.
But sure, but you can't bring him down. He's just a ridiculous talent, and I just can't find myself fading people because of a situation or another person there. It's just I guess you can a little bit with running backs, but he's still only 23 years old.
Yeah, so, it's not too much of a fade. It's just there's a question mark of what the deploy. I mean, those guys are pretty close in value, I think, and depends on what you like, what you're doing. There's question marks for both. It feels like DJ Moore is a little safer, but obviously, a few years older. So, I would lean DJ Moore there, but it's not by much. And you could catch me outside with Kenny 3-6 there. So. Zach Moss, I don't hate that shot in the 13th. You got Jalen Wright there at 13-3. I like that. And then Kendre Miller, love that. Russell, I love these picks in a row here. Russell Wilson, Chase Brown. Ford's an interesting one because it's what the hell do you do with him? All he did was come out there and just produce for you, right?
So good.
Chubb's coming, I would find it hard pressed to say that the Browns don't select a running back. Actually, probably sneaky good landing spot for a running back if they, if it's a running back that people like and when we think is decent,
Chubb's still there, right?
He's still there, but I mean, coming back from a big injury, he's 28, 29 years old. They're talking about
don't count that man.
How can we restructure this? And they're probably looking to kind of maybe move on in a year if they possibly can. No shade to Chubb, but it is just a lot of. But Ford, man, just came out there and gave you a lot of really, really good weeks. If you had Ford, you could make it through in your lineup there of being all right, he could get me 10, he could get me 20. He won some playoff matchups for some people there. Had some really, really good showings in was that year 2 for Ford last year?
I believe so. Yeah.
So. And then we got DeAndre Hopkins and Sutton. We got great picks here in the 13th round. Roman Wilson, 13-10. Raheem Mostert, 13-11. Isaiah Likely, 13-12. We got Jalen McMillan at 14-11. That's my guy. That's my don't leave a draft without him right now. Bo Nix at 14-12. That seems like great. I was just saying Jake Anderson we just went and got one more guy. So, now between Will Levis and Bo Nix here, I don't think that you're going to end up with being able to get Bo Nix in the 14th round, but he did here. So between those two guys, you could package them up. You could do some other things. You could find a way to get another reliable quarterback if you felt the need to have one on that team, or you have two nice shots there. Jatavion Sanders, a 14-3. He's packaging him up with Mark Andrews and Freiermuth, so I like that. You don't have to count on him right away. Love that. Mims at 14-4. Didn't seem like any real much movement at all for Mims when the Judy trade and he got traded away, which I thought we would see more movement. We didn't really. Devin Singletary, that's just a nice 14th round pick there. You could get some really, really good mileage out of Devin Singletary this year. J.K. Dobbins, we have no idea what's going to happen, but some upside. Mike Williams, 14-7. Mike Williams, I saw somebody post a stat he really hasn't missed as many games as people think he's missed, and obviously now he's pre-ACL. I think it was something like 6 games over the last 2 years or something before the ACL or something like that, which is a lot less than you probably thought. somewhere around in that range, and now he lands with the Jets there. If Rodgers can be healthy and Garrett Wilson's on the other side, maybe you add Brock Bowers to that lineup. Maybe you add another wide receiver in the draft. Maybe you bolster up that offensive line a little more and with that first pick. Be interesting to see where the Jets go with that.
Michael Williams played 10 games his first year, and then 16, 15, 15, 16, 13, 3.
Right. So,
recency bias.
Really hadn't missed a whole lot of time. Just always seemed like maybe
in
and out. Well, just being nicked through the thing and hurting the game log a little bit.
Because when he goes up, it looks like he's falling from the second story.
Yeah. Xavier Legette there at 14-8. Love that stab. Curtis, like we still got great picks here, man. In the 14th round, we got Curtis Samuel.
15. Oh no, you're in. You're in
14-9. That's fun. I mean, Wilson right now.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, why not? Let's take that shot, baby. Grab that net, catch that beautiful butterfly.
Yeah.
What do they got there right now?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Potentially talk of maybe a trade back there for them to gain even a little bit more to rebuild and still
shots, electricity.
Yeah, still be able to gain some more capital and still probably get a really good wide receiver. So I think there's one coming there regardless. But I mean, right now penciled in as your one, probably going to pencil in as your two for the most part. Gabe Davis, sure. Darren Waller, sure. Chikakonkwo, sure. Gardner Minshew, shots. He took Richardson and Tua, and then he came back and took Daniel Jones, and then he's got Gardner Minshew. So, great fun shots there. Pop Douglas at 15-3. Wandell at 15-4. Those guys are, synonyms like those two there.
Opposite of antonyms.
Tez Walker, 15-5.
Synonyms.
Interesting to see where
Wandale and DeMario.
Yeah, sort of. Could just be PPR, fucking
PPR,
little quick pew 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 pew.
With some electricity.
Yeah. Damian Pierce, 15-6. Antonio Gibson, 15-7. I love the Gibson shot. Cade Otton, 15-9.
Strong shot there.
Let's see what your other tight ends. He's got TJ Hockenson, so he needed to take a shot on Cade. Maybe he should have taken another shot on a tight end earlier. Let's see what tight ends are left here. Dulcich is a favorite of mine here, getting a little later. We're only going 15 rounds, keep it under. But then, you get in these drafts. Let's say you took a guy who is a rookie, or you took a Musgrave and then you didn't come back to the well. Hunter Henry is the guy that you should be drafted in that 20th, 18th round every single damn time in tight end premium, because he can come in and get you some good points right away. Tyler Conklin is another one who could potentially. Then you can come back even later and grab Rucker with the Jets there. Now maybe they draft big boy Brock Bowers there, but Gesicki might be another shot you could take late going over to Cincinnati. So then we got Sinnott, which that's tight end 3 in this class for me. Love that shot all day. Shakir, great shot. I mean, the Samuel thing kind of hurt that a little bit, and maybe we'll even see Buffalo add one more receiver, which further knocks Shakir down. But Shakir played really well at the end of last year.
When they called on him,
yeah,
he stepped up.
He was kind of inconsistent for those first couple of years, which he was a guy I liked, and then
didn't play a ton, didn't get a lot of targets.
Yeah,
but then they needed him.
He'd drop some, and he'd be good, and then have a bonehead play and be good, and then had to put together a really good stretch at the end of last season. So not a bad guy to have at the back end of the bench. Ricky Pearsall, DJ loves Daniel Jeremiah, loves him. That's a nice little shot there. A lot of love for Pearsall, and then Bucky Irving at 15-12. Can't believe Big D ended the draft with a Oregon Duck on his team there. So he must really like Bucky. So that wraps up this draft here. Let's take a quick snapshot of some of these teams. See what we like here. At the end here, we got Pimp Juice. Just judging by his boxes, I kind of like what the draft was. We'll see who he took. He got St. Brown,
just
Marvin
the colors
Harrison.
of the box,
right? Jared Goff and McCarthy. So he needed another quarterback. I don't love that. But Pacheco, Brian Thomas, so Mixon, and then 3 running backs: Mixon, Kamara, and Trey Benson. So olds and youngs, and then another shot with the rookie wide receiver in Keon Coleman. 2 more running backs, which Roshan. Hey. May probably a little too early for him. I don't know where he even is in our ADP. And then 2 shots at tight ends late, which he didn't take any. So hey, don't hate it. Not I like the look of the boxes, but they're not the boxes that I would have selected. If that makes sense.
Let's look at Roshan is 13-7 in our ADP.
Oh, so he's got it right there. Caleb Williams 1-9 for Uno Dynasty. 2-4 Kyler Murray, Laporta, then a nice little deposit of blue with Tank Dell, Rashi Rice, Debo, and Devontae. So a little mix of old and new. Like
where are you
that.
at? Oh, Uno Dynasty.
Yep. And then we got Georgie Kittle. So he went back to the well. He was like, fuck it. If you're going to give it to me, I'll take it, baby. And then he came back and he went and got some nice shots at running back here. So this is, once again, every time we do this, I kind of say it, might end up with a bell cow a little higher up here. Some guy that you can really count on. You know, Kyron probably be in the line of where I'd cut it off at. And then maybe you get Barkley or Jacobs. But then he comes down and he just stabs on Ramondre. He stabs on Connor, which, you know, Connor can give you everything you need out of your RB position. Warren could be great. And then Kendre Miller, who's a favorite of the shows, might take an injury or a trade or something to get Kendre in there. But nice showing at the end of last year for Kendre. So we've gone over Vengo's a little bit. I like his team. I like what Jake did for the most part. We got 3 quarterbacks here off the rip with Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, and Drake May, Devonta Smith, Kenny, 3 sticks, Andrews, great value. Got just good value from, you know, probably even 310 and really 210, you know, just maybe a little early on Stroud, depends on who you talk to. Lawrence, probably good value. May, probably decent value. Smith, good value. Kenny Walker, probably solid value there. Andrews, and then he takes Evans. So he needs probably a little help at wide receiver, but got some decent shots at running back there. What other team? Let's take a peek here at one more squad. Let's see how this Tucker Kraft team kind of played out here. Actually, I want to take 2. I want to go straight edge after this. Lamar, Dak, Taylor, Kyron. Nice. Diggs, a little early on that. So let's see how he came back from that. He got Pickens and McLaurin. That's fine. Then Godwin down here, good value. Fields, you know, that guy could turn into a Super Saiyan. 9-9, you got Schultz, love that. And then Kraft, probably a little early. So a couple early picks that I, you know, don't really love here, but I like the idea of the team. Chubb late, Sutton and Mims, and then Sinnott, like that. And then let's see what straight edge has got going on over here. Herbert, Bijan, Olave, Pittman. Ooh, like that. Kincaid, like that. Like take that. I guess you can't really say that right now.
Would you trade JSN?
Because the diddler's in some heat.
Wait, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. Shout out to me. Kincaid or JSN? Plus the 1-3. Or sorry, 3-1. I didn't even
run that by me again.
Kincaid in the 3-1 or JSN? Superflex tight end premium.
1.5 premium, I'm assuming. If it's 2 point, I'll take the tight end. If it's 1.5, I think I still.
Okay, all right. The case is one of them guys now.
Well, I mean, if it's 2, the tight ends are just fucking going way up, baby. I'm still gonna rock with JSN in the 1.5. But that's pretty tight. I like Kincaid a lot. I'm still going with JSN though. I like the long-term value. Although, you know, Kincaid could be, you know, 2 rounds up with Laporta there after this year. Had some really good shots. I think 74 targets for Kincaid last year. Let's see here. 2022 game log is taking a little bit here. 73 receptions,
91 targets.
So, I mean, even for a down year, which I think most people kind of think that maybe it wasn't as good as you hoped it would be. That's a fuck ton of catches for a rookie tight end there. Man, that's tight, man. I think that's fair. It's sweaty on both sides. So,
all right.
Let's wrap this thing up. Let's get out of here. Appreciate you guys. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for the draft. This was a fun draft. You guys knocked it out of the park. Not too many autos. Some really good teams, really well balanced. Be sure to tune in, like, subscribe, all that jazz. We'll be covering the draft with the Discord people when it's live, and then we'll be coming at you on the next couple of days in the mornings with probably some live public shows and all sorts of stuff. We'll be hammering all that, and then we'll take you right up to it with some regular old Dynasty content of trades and the guys who are already in the league, plus rookie content. We try to mix all those things in. So keep it locked and loaded here. With your boys, the FF Dynasty. We'll probably hammer out maybe one more live mock potentially, and maybe that one will be your live rookie mock. I don't know, before the draft, but we'll probably try to cut that off 2 weeks or so before the actual draft takes place, and then afterwards we'll be right back to that business because that's what we're standing on. Because we keep it 100 over here. That's just what we do.
Straight real 100 facts.
Yeah.
100 facts.
Just say all the things. That's so you know that if I'm saying it, it's for real. All right. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.